Hello, Morongo Basin, and listeners around the world online at Z107.7fm.com. Here is the Z107.7 local news for Tuesday, March 11th, 2025. Details have been released regarding a suspected murder-suicide in Yucca Valley. On March 4th, sheriff's deputies from the Morongo Basin Station responded to a call of suspicious circumstances at a home in the 6600 block of La Habra Avenue in Yucca Valley. Deputies say that the reporting party described a foul odor coming from the house. Responding deputies found 2 people deceased in the home. The deceased have been identified by the San Bernardino County coroner as Dale Cardiac, 64, and Angela Lyons, 68, both residents of the home in Yucca Valley. Cardiac's death has been confirmed as a suicide by the coroner's office. Lyon's death remains under investigation, but is being investigated by the sheriff's homicide detail. An initial press release from the sheriff's department said that Cardiac is suspected to have killed Lyons before killing himself. No additional details regarding the deaths are available as the investigation is ongoing. The California Department of Fish and Wildlife held 2 online sessions yesterday explaining the Western Joshua Tree Conservation Plan and the law that was passed to help implement it. Online news editor Robert Hayden joins us with some background on both.
In July of 2023, the Western Joshua Tree Conservation Act was passed with the singular goal of protecting and conserving the Western Joshua Tree and its habitat, which includes the town of Yucca Valley, Joshua Tree, and most of the unincorporated communities here in the high desert that sit within the San Bernardino County limits. It's important to note that there are 2 different things being talked about with very similar names. The Western Joshua Tree Conservation Act is the law that was passed in 2023 that prohibits the import, export, take, possession, purchase, or sale of any Western Joshua tree in California unless authorized by the California Department of Fish and Wildlife, or CDFW. The Western Joshua Tree Conservation Plan is a collaboration between the CDFW and organizations around the state to provide guidance on how to avoid impacting the Western Joshua Tree. The act itself was written by lawmakers and signed into law, meaning that the fees and framework for applying those fees was given to the CDFW for implementation, but the CDFW was not responsible for setting the fees. In the case of the Western Joshua Tree, an incidental take permit would need to be applied for if any significant ground disturbance is planned within 50 feet of a Joshua Tree, whether it grows on your property or not. Those fees can run into the thousands of dollars per tree, depending on the height. It's those fees that the city of Yucca Valley and most commenters at yesterday's meeting say are too expensive for single-family homeowners. In the case of Yucca Valley, residents in the second phase of the sewer system project will be faced with fees for removing or pumping septic systems or hooking up their property to the town's sewer. The CDFW says that cities or counties can enter into delegated agreements to qualify for reduced fees, but the act itself doesn't include any exemptions for projects such as the Yucca Valley sewer system. Stay tuned this week for more on the Western Joshua Tree Conservation Act and Plan, including anticipated changes to the plan, local reactions, and statements from local organizations who support the science behind the plan. We'll also take a look at incidental take permit fees and how much that could cost a property owner, as well as some of the definitions and criteria around those take permits. Reporting for Z107.7 News, I'm Robert Hayden.
Elections were held for the new Landers Homestead Valley Association Board of Directors at last night's meeting. Annalise Kuiper was there and joins us with this recap.
Board elections were held, and Mike Lipsitz was elected president. Randy Brill is vice president. Stephanie Kern will be secretary, and Judy Laffoon is acting treasurer. 7 directors were also elected. During the community reports, Sheriff Sergeant Stumbo informed the meeting that there is a new division, the Dirt Devils, which focuses on off-highway vehicles. He also assured that when a complaint is filed by the public, it remains completely anonymous. Regarding the abandoned vehicles on Lynn Road, the Bureau of Land Management will remove all of them by the end of March. Under new business, the Tire Roundup was announced, which will take place at Homestead Valley Park on Saturday, March 29th from 9 a.m. to noon. The petition for reinstatement of charitable organization registration has been filed, but a decision will take at least 90 days. There will be another big cleanup in Johnson Valley, this time on Ghost Road off Highway 247, on April 19th from 10 a.m. Your help is greatly appreciated. Reporting for Z107.7 News, I'm Annalise Kuiper.
Tonight, the 29 Palms City Council will face a light agenda with a few presentations, proclamations, and ADA improvements at Lucky Park. Reporter Heather Clisby has more.
With a skimpy agenda, the 29 Palms City Council will kick off tonight's meeting with a presentation to the 29 Palms High School girls basketball and softball teams for their efforts in the Cash for Trash and Recycling program. The Parks and Recreation Department will then present on a grant recently received by the National Recreation and Park Association, Gender Equity in Sports Community of Practice. San Bernardino County Fire Department Chief Bill Villarino will also present on fire prevention. As part of the consent calendar, meaning there may or may not be a discussion, Council will consider awarding a design services contract for nearly $29,000 to HR Green Pacific for the Lucky Park ADA Improvement Project. Council may tackle one or more of the many issues listed for possible discussion during the meeting, including a general plan update, abandoned homes, and funds for portable showers. Post-adjournment, Council will hold a closed-door session to conduct a performance evaluation of City Manager Stone James. The meeting takes place on Tuesday, March 11th at 6 p.m. at City Hall, 6136 Adobe Road. It can be live-streamed or viewed on demand via the city's website, 29palms.org. Reporting for Z107.7, I'm Heather Clisby.
The Yucca Valley Planning Commission will review two upcoming developments at tonight's meeting. Here's reporter Adeline J. Wells with more on the agenda.
Tonight's Yucca Valley Planning Commission meeting will begin with the landscape and irrigation review for a 4-unit multifamily project on Palo Alto Avenue. Last fall, the Commission and Town Council implemented an ordinance that includes landscape and irrigation requirements as part of the Land Use Compliance Review application. Town staff recommends that the Commission approves the plan. The Commission will then consider a minor amendment to a site plan review for a development at 7344 Wamego Trail. The Planning Commission previously approved the application for a retail and collective space with the sale of gifts, baked goods, and a coffee bar. The applicant would like to add the installation of a wood and metal fence to the plan. Town staff will then present the General Plan Annual Housing Element Report and the Land Development Update. Tonight's meeting is open to the public and begins at 6 p.m. at the Yucca Valley Community Center. Reporting for Z107.7, this is Adeline J. Wells.
The Morongo Unified School District Board of Trustees will hold their regular monthly meeting tonight at 6 p.m. in Joshua Tree Elementary School's multipurpose room. Reporter Gabriel Hart has highlights from the meeting's agenda for us today.
There will be the first report from the newly appointed Bond Oversight Committee, assembled last month to monitor spending of funds from Bond C. Assistant Superintendent of Secondary Education Amy Woods will give an update on cell phone policy. Assistant Superintendent of Elementary Education Dr. Graciela Gutierrez will give a recap on the Literacy is Life event held in 29 Palms on March 2nd. And Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources Stacy Smalling will give a report on the MUSD MTA Sunshine Proposal, followed by a request for the board to adopt the Sunshine Proposal for contract negotiations, in which the next step would be to develop the tentative agreement, and finally a completed contract for the 2025-26 school year. For action items, the board is requested to approve Resolution 2515, authorizing the district to issue its first series of bonds under the November 5, 2024 authorization in an aggregate principal amount not to exceed $32 million. The bonds will be paid from property taxes within the district, levied and collected by San Bernardino County. The bonds will finance projects authorized by the voters at the November 5, 2024 election. The board is also requested to adopt Resolution 2516, authorizing workers' compensation coverage for district volunteers pursuant to California Labor Code Section 3364.5. Reporting for Z107.7, I'm Gabriel Hart.
The Bighorn Desert View Water Agency holds their monthly meeting tonight. Annalise Kuiper rejoins us with more information about what you can expect.
The Board of Directors will consider the following: authorizing change to the pipeline improvements and consolidation project for a professional services agreement with California Rural Water Association to provide additional engineering design services, acceptance of completion of work and filing a notice of completion on the Goat Mountain replacement well, and the implementation of a cost of living adjustment, COLA, to increase the Board of Directors per diem compensation by 5% for fiscal year 2025-2026. The date and time of the 2025 annual board workshop will also be determined, and staff will be directed to schedule this event. The public is welcome to attend the meeting, which begins at 6 p.m. and is located at the Bighorn Desert View Water Agency Board Meeting Office, 1720 North Cherokee Trail, Landers. Reporting for Z107.7 News, I'm Annalise Kuiper.
And finally, registration is now open for the 29 Palms Co-ed Adult Volleyball League. You can register solo or with your friends as a team for the season, which runs Thursday evenings, April 3rd through May 22nd. Registration is open now through March 31st, and it is $35 per player. You can sign up at 29palms.org. That's our local news. Hear local news 7 times a day, 7 days a week at 7, 8, 9, noon, 4, 5, and 6. Reporting for the Morongo Basin News Leader, the award-winning Z107.7 Local News, I'm News Director Jeff Harmatz.